So this is a 1994 Johnson 20 horsepower outboard. A lot of people ask me how to remove the lower unit on this. They're a little different from a lot of the older motors, so I figured I would make a video showing you how to do it. You'll be seeing a lot of this engine in the future, I believe, but it'll be a little while. So anyway, I'm going to get the lower off and show you how it's done. So, I'm going to find some light. Yeah, it's a little better. First thing I like to do is get rid of these stupid hydrofoils. And I don't really care for them, especially when you're trying to work on a lower because all you do is get in the way. This one's got nice chipped edges, so every time I walk by this thing, it cuts my leg. So I'm pretty sick of it at this point. So naturally, it is coming off. So anyway, I get the 4 screws, 2 on each side, and I'll get it off, and then I'll get to doing something. All right, with those fins off, I'm going to go back to working. Now, you don't necessarily need to remove the propeller, but it's good practice too, just in case you break it, or eventually you're going to take it off anyway to do whatever you're doing, so you might as well. But yeah, get the propeller out of here. This is a pretty well rusted cotter pin, which nothing new. Just gotta find something to kind of pry it down. You don't want to pry in the prop shaft too much. You don't want to nick any threads. You'll just be kind of kicking yourself if you do. Using my tools properly. That's the key factor here. So let's go back to using them properly. Let me find something bigger. There we go. Perfect. Let's get a wrench, get that out of there. Then this is a 13/16 nut. Shouldn't be that tight. Quick little tug should be all you need, but alright, propeller's off. Yeah, put on nut. So now we got the propeller, we got the little propeller spacer, and then we have our bottom plate. These things do stick. So usually that's all you gotta do to get them out. Now before you put this back together, you should clean up this prop shaft, make it look all good again, re-grease it, and then put everything back on. Before we go any further, you should get some PB Blaster. Spray down that screw nice and good. Might as well do where the housing needs to while you're at it, just in case. And we'll let that sit in for a little while. Hopefully it helps. So first thing I like to do is get the shift rod disconnected. Do that. We pull out this screw and then this screw. Now with your hand, hold it on the back side, and these 2 plates come right off. So then what you can do is screw them back together, just to make sure you don't lose them. Now this fitting shouldn't give you any problems, but seeing as I spent $5 on PB Blaster, I'm going to use it and let it sit in for a little bit. Why is this screen so dark? Jeez. That's better. Got the flash on. Alright, so we got to undo the shift rod here. We need 2 1/2-inch wrenches for that. You can see the little difference here, kind of. So anyway, we're going to use the 2 wrenches to break the thing loose a little here. Not always the easiest because you got some turning to do here, and you're kind of limited on room. But anyway, so they're broken loose, so that's good. I just got to sit here and inch them back and forth. Alright, so pretty well disconnected now. So in theory this should just slide down. It's kind of giving me some problems, so I'm going to use the other wrench to push down while I jiggle back and forth. That doesn't look like it's fluid, but no biggie. So I'm going to shifted upwards. I'm going to shift the lower into reverse and pull it up, and now we can get to that little keeper. So service manual says to remove and discard keeper and replace it. The unfortunate part of that, these two little things, like $8, so they ain't cheap. So if you can reuse it, great, but you ain't supposed to. So all the ones I've worked on have had a little slot on them. I think that's to guide them on and off. So usually what I try to do is use that slot to guide it back off. Usually it's not too easy. Kind of a one-way road, but you still try to get it off without breaking it. If you get frustrated, just break it off there. Usually they would have broken already. Apparently this one's the worst one in the world. Alright, it's off. Rolled away somewhere. I'll try to find it, but that's the important part anyway. So now what we can do is screw this little bushing back in so we don't lose it. And our shift rod is nice and detached, and we'll slide right out of there. So now we can get a, what is it, 7/16 socket, a little wrench, break all the lower unit mounting screws out, and hope you don't break any. I usually just break them all loose and then work my way back around. So this one feels like it's giving me a little bit of trouble, but feels like it's coming out at the same time, so should be fine. Okay, it's good. Now we have this nut. It's got to come off. It can be a little trickier. Use the closed end of the wrench. Make sure it doesn't slip or break off or anything. This nut frequently will give you problems. Not so much the nut itself, but the shaft that runs the lower unit. It's a pretty close fit. If there's any corrosion or rust or anything going on, usually they get pretty stuck right there. It happens all the time. You don't want it to, but sometimes you just don't get that lucky. Alright, so now I'll get the rest of these screws all the way out and we'll pull the lower off, or try to. Well, with the shift rod disconnected and all the screws out, it should slide right down. And got pretty lucky in this one. Not much corrosion going on at all, really. But given the rest of the condition of it, you wouldn't think that was going to be the case. But well, that is how to remove your lower unit. Hope you found this really helpful. Maybe in the future I will make a video showing you how to reseal one of these, replace the water pump, that kind of stuff. But for now, I just needed this lower unit off that engine. So, have a good one.